Astral projection is a pretty widely known phenomenon, but one in which people still do not believe to be true or obtainable. In this video, I'll be explaining what astral projection is and its relation to other spiritual concepts, as well as how to astral project. First, we will be discussing what astral projection is, for understanding what it is at a deep level makes it easier to learn and apply astral projection. Astral projection is a form of an out-of-body experience in which your consciousness leaves the body and travels to different planes of existence, the astral planes. You must understand that consciousness itself is locationless, as everything is consciousness. As consciousness itself is not an object, it is just pure awareness, and we can look at it more like a quantum field. For consciousness to have a localized experience, it must create filters in which to perceive itself. This is why you, as pure consciousness, are in the physical body right now, as your awareness is focused on your body. This is due to the 5 senses, the mind, and the large amount of processes going on in the physical body. Astral projection itself is allowing a section of your consciousness to leave the physical body in the physical dimension. This mechanism is already being used in sleep, so we can use this process as a guide to understanding what astral projection is and how to do it. Sleep essentially relaxes some of the concentration in the physical body's awareness, allowing consciousness a little more room to play. For the key to astral projection is to lose focus on your body and mind, as conscious awareness is where you place your energy. Astral projection is the tool in which one can perceive the astral planes, including the astral body. The astral body is a subtle, non-physical counterpart of the physical human body. This subtle and energetic body is believed to be the vehicle of emotion. Looking at the framework of understanding the layers of consciousness in the body, we can see that the astral body correlates with the subtle body and the mind sheath, as this is still a division of your consciousness to perceive oneself. It also has connections to the wisdom sheath due to the depths or heights of the astral projection. And we can further understand that the correlation is most directly associated with the heart chakra, as it is the emotional and energetic center. But the third eye and solar plexus help one see and move, as well as the crown connecting you to infinity. The astral planes are a non-physical realm or planes of existence in which the mental and emotional world is being perceived. This is where the astral body is projected to in astral projection, as this is a deeper and higher understanding of consciousness. In the astral, there is still duality, for there is still contrast to understand oneself. But due to the expansiveness, it is a place in which oneness is felt more intensely, although you can still feel some sort of separation. As the higher you go, this line of duality will blur and dissolve. These planes have been felt through dreams and lucid dreams themselves, as the dream state is involving your subtle body and these planes, but at a lower level of the astral plane. As the difference between dreaming, lucid dreaming, and astral projection is the level of conscious awareness being placed, as they all act upon the subtle body. It is depths of awareness or how out of body one goes. Other ways of understanding these planes are with ideas of the 14 lokas, a yogic cosmology, Robert Monroe and Frank Kepple's phasing model, or through layers of reality diagram by the astral doorway. I'll go more in detail about these topics in other videos. Now, let us look at the key difference between dreaming, lucid dreaming, and astral projection. As we can see, that all three are forms of subtle body activation with a progressive degree of conscious awareness. As a dream is an interaction with the lower astral planes and deals with the personal subconscious as a form of subconscious processing, and can be often seen as blurry or shifting. Lucid dreaming deals with the middle to lower astral dreamscape, as this is used as the expression of healing, creating, and exploring, and can be very vivid and interactive. while astral projection is the experience of the middle to higher astral realms, and can access shared realms as well. As an astral projection is for a deep spiritual insight and energetic work, and it feels hyper real, more real than waking life. Now looking at the brainwaves, we can also see its relationship between each other and the different levels of consciousness, as they all have some theta activation, which is related to dreaming and visualization. Looking at lucid dreaming, the brainwaves will show higher theta with low beta spikes. This shows an increase in prefrontal cortex activity, allowing this metacognition, essentially being awake within the theta. While an astral projection often starts in theta, dips to delta, then spikes into gamma during the projection, with some EEG studies on out-of-body states showing synchronization between theta and gamma. While astral projection is clearly connected to dreaming and lucid dreaming, we can also see its difference. Furthermore, astral projection does not only happen during sleep, as astral projection can occur whenever, through levels of concentration, such as through meditation. I've had spontaneous astral projections during deep meditation, for astral projection itself is a form of meditation. Looking at meditation and its relationship to astral projection, it is also very useful. To astral project itself takes a lot of concentration, for your activity of thoughts will appear every time you try and astral project. So I highly suggest meditation as a practice in general, and as a form in which to help successfully astral project. Now let us look at Frank Kepple's phasing model to help us get another framework of what the astral planes are. This framework is built upon ideas of the pioneer of out-of-body studies, Robert Monroe, and his focus level system. In Kepple's model, he simplifies Monroe's to 4 variations of focuses: A, B, C, and D. Focus A is the physical world and the space-time dimension, with focus B being realm of your subconscious mind and dream dimension. This is your own personal space or training ground, with no other entities. This is very similar to dreaming, as it is your objective view of your subjective world. So, this is the symbolic space created by your inner mind. So any other entities you interact with is only your own ideas behind them. This can cause the dreamscape to mirror the internal mind. For example, religious people going to perceive a heavenly place and having interactions with angels, prophets, or deceased relatives. Focus C is what many people consider the astral planes, or the middle astral plane, as this is the collective consensus dimension. This is where actual real entities and beings traveling around and existing just like in our physical world. When you first start projecting, it is hard to see if you are in focus B or C, due to focus B's ability to project your own dream world, so you also can project dream characters. But once you have the distinction of focus B and C, and talking to entities in focus C, you can tell the difference just like you can tell the difference in physical world. Focus C is also hyper-realistic and feels more real, with the upper plane of this focus tending to be like the physical world. And you will find billions of people here, many of which are trapped in some kind of reality, as beings tend to gravitate towards realities that gravitate towards their inner state of focus, with upper tiers of this having more freedom due to the less attachments and more compassion. In this consensus dimension, there is also many beings, in which you can connect to higher beings or your higher self. There's an infinite amount of experiences to be had here. For example, there is one concept called retrievals, which is aiding entities that are not incarnate or helping souls without a physical body. I was brought on one of these adventures before by a higher being, in which I was trying to help a soul get out of the illusion of a war. And focus D is the divine realm, a purely subjective dimension, as you have now gone beyond the subtle body, and this is where it is referred to as the causal body, as this is beyond the astral and beyond form. Another concept that I want to explain is the concept of the void. It's an area that is infinite, and it's like the idea of the quantum field of possibilities. Once you project here, it is obviously you are no longer staring at the back of your eyelids, but more like floating in space. This is a very unique realm because this is usually where you will pop out into once you leave the body. This can be interpreted as an in-between realms or even a hallway, and is a great place to meditate in. This will kind of be your home base, as this is the transitions into creating dreams, lucid dreams, and astral projection. And the last concept I want to cover is the connection between astral planes and the higher chakras, specifically the Bindu point and the causal chakra. The Bindu is often described as the gateway out of the body. During astral projection, your awareness exits through this point, activating the causal chakra, the energy center located just outside of the body. This chakra serves as both the operating center outside of the body and the tether back to the physical. It is the link between your form and formless self. Alright, now that we have an understanding of what astral projection is and what it can look like, I'll now explain a step-by-step process of how to astral project. You can learn to astral project fairly quickly and can happen in even one day. As for me, it started to happen spontaneously in deep meditation or during the night. So I'll explain the process and the experience in which I go through, as well as tricks to help guide one into astral projecting. First of all, let us talk about the preparatory steps one can take to astral project. These are steps that are not necessary for projecting itself. The first step would be to meditate, as learning to meditate will be a very helpful tool in this process, specifically for two main aspects: for the ability to surrender the thoughts or ideas, and to be able to concentrate. As to go out of body, these two steps will be very influential. Now another preparatory step will be to choose the right time. If you are trying to astral project outside of a deep meditation, you will need to be in theta brainwave state, which is known as the trance state or dream state, and for visualization. So although theta brainwaves are active during dreaming, you will actually not want to do it when first headed to bed, as you will enter deep sleep or REM sleep, but instead use the waking back to bed method. This method is to wake up slightly early, staying awake for 10 to 15 minutes, where you're still in that semi-sleepiness state, and you go back to bed and try to fall asleep. But now your body has enough rest to keep you more conscious for this experience. Just like we said before, you are astral projecting every time you go to sleep through dreams, but you are just not conscious of it. So the waking back to bed method will allow the perfect timing for this. Another preparatory step will be to focus on what your diet is, specifically the night before, but also in general. As you will want to focus on eating high prana foods such as fruits, veggies, nuts, and herbal teas, as well as to be very hydrated. Furthermore, you will want to be generally more fasted, so like eating a light meal in the evening. So avoid heavy dinners or late night snacks, processed foods, or any inflammatory foods, and avoid drug use such as caffeine or alcohol. You can also use herbs that are known to help, such as cacao for the heart chakra, mugwort for dream recall, chamomile for relaxation, or blue lotus for lucid dreaming. Now listening to binaural beats is another step one can take to astral project, as this is using the wave states of the brain by giving it a mirror using two slightly different frequencies, and Robert Monroe intentionally applied this for consciousness exploration. Now that we covered some preparatory steps, here are the actual steps and tools for astral projection. So the first step, and the most important step, is to have the qualities of fearlessness and desire, as you have to want to do it with 100% certainty, and you must not have any fears. For any fears of the projection will not allow one to project, since it's using the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will take these fears as cues in which not to astral project. Step 2 would be to get comfortable, and preferably alone, as anything that disturbs this process will ruin the process, as it takes a lot of concentration. So doing this comfortable and alone so that it does not pull you out or prevent you from projecting. A sleep mask and earplugs can also help reduce this disturbance. Step 3 would be to use affirmations. This step is very important and influential in astral projection. For examples of affirmation, you can use phrases such as, "I realize I am dreaming," or I am astral projecting. It is really important to keep affirmations in the present moment due to the subconscious mind only perceiving the present moment. So putting it in the past tense or future tense, it will not be affirming with the subconscious. Step 4 would be to use visualization, another very important and influential step. And for me, visualization is even more important for this process, as visualization is just anything you do in your mind to heighten your 5 senses. And there is an infinite amount of ways you can do this. You want to imagine something as real as possible as you are falling into sleep. A common projection technique is the target technique, which is visualizing a person or place. Step 5 would be getting used to the sensations, such as hypnagogic sensations. These are sensations one can have during the transition into the trance state or the wakefulness to sleep. Once you have something like this appear, take this as a thumbs up you are headed to the right direction. Do not get overly excited or freaked out either. One common sensation is like someone saying your name, but it's just your brain just firing off memories. But it will sound extremely real, as this also can occur while going into sleep. It is important to stay calm. This is a very important part, as this is when you can travel through the bindu and leave the body. One of the sensations which I do is to focus on the high ringing noise, which in Taoism is called the high-pitched sound or the universal sound, and it sounds something like this. Focusing on this for a little bit, it'll go from quiet to extremely loud, and then it will feel like you're going through a tunnel of a high extreme winds or like a jet engine noise. It is so loud that it can make you scared and think your eardrums are going to explode. Stay calm and surrender to the sensation, as this is not actually happening to the ears, but it's in the pineal gland. As this sound is increasingly getting more intense, it also visually feels like I'm going through a tube-like portal, almost as if I'm at the speed of light. Once this noise comes to a complete stop, you'll be sent out in the body and usually into the void. But if you're not out of the body just yet, you can use techniques such as the rope technique from Robert Bruce, where you imagine a rope above you and you're trying to climb out of yourself. Or you can use another technique where you basically roll yourself out of your body like you're rolling yourself out of bed. During this process, sometimes your limbs will feel as if they're floating out, which is also a good indication that it's time to leave your body. It's really important to know you'll absolutely know when you're out of the body. This leads me to the final step, which is to stay calm and don't freak out. As it is a common mistake once you leave your body to freak out and be like, I did it, and then poof, you're back in your body. So you just want to stay calm and be aware, engaging with your surroundings. It can be different for many people on where you end up actually popping out of. So it's up to you at this point to figure out what to do during projection. With all that being said, this is not an exact formula, and you may have to fine-tune it to your body's specific needs. As for me, it was a spontaneous happening during deep meditations that I then used to figure out what I needed to do in my exact formula. And that's it for today's video. Like, subscribe, and leave any comments of questions or topics you would like me to talk about. Thanks for watching. Peace. Do you ever feel lost, confused about who you are, why you're here, and what your true purpose is? Do you feel disconnected, lacking the purpose, direction, or energy to do what you truly want in life? I know that feeling well because I lived it, but through that confusion, I discovered something powerful. The deeper meaning you're searching for is already within you. The problem is, most people are never taught how to access it. That's why I'm dedicating my life to help others reconnect with their true self, to understand what life is really about, break free from limitations, and master their energy. My name is Ellis-Hernandez, and my journey began with a powerful awakening after a long period of depression and disconnection. Since then, I spent years diving deep into spirituality, science, philosophy, and energetic mastery. Through practices like meditation, yoga, qigong, holistic health, and a lot more, I've learned how to activate my energy, live in effortless flow, and follow my true passion. Now, I help others do the same. I work with people who are ready to break through, align their soul's purpose, and step into the most vibrant, awakened version of themselves. If that's you, I offer personalized one-on-one coaching to guide and accelerate your transformation. I also offer online courses designed to unlock your potential. And I have a YouTube channel filled with powerful insights to guide your journey. You don't have to stay stuck, and you don't have to keep searching. The path is already unfolding. Are you ready to step into the life you are meant to live and master your own energy? Click below to begin the journey today.